Following the recent tragedy at the Astroworld Festival in Houston, people are realizing just how dangerous music festivals can be. That's why today we're going to be listing other terrible events that took place at festivals. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the top 10 worst things that happened at music festivals. In at number 10, the Astroworld Festival in 2021. This devastating tragedy is the most recent to take place, and investigators are still trying to put the pieces together of what actually happened. During Travis Scott's headlining performance at the Houston Festival, the crowd rushed towards the stage and many attendees were crushed together, unable to breathe. This caused people to pass out from lack of oxygen and exhaustion, then getting trampled on by other people. It's been reported that 8 people have lost their lives and over 300 were injured at the 50,000 person sold out show. Travis is known for his chaotic and high energy performances, so it was no surprise to many when this resulted in disaster. This is not the first time that fans have been harmed at his shows. One fan was left paralyzed after he jumped off a railing at a concert after another fan was encouraged to do so by Scott. As of now, Travis along with Live Nation are being sued by injured fans. In at number 9, Time Warp Argentina in 2016. The Time Warp Festival that took place in 2016 resulted in 6 people losing their lives. At festivals, it is not uncommon for people to sneak in illegal substances that are not allowed in and sell them to other festival goers. This is what happened here, but unfortunately the product that was being sold was poisoned, and of the people that ingested it, 6 passed away from acute poisoning. Because of the tragedy that took place on the first day of the festival, the second day was cancelled and all efforts were used to find the people responsible. The festival was also overcrowded and numerous people collapsed from heat exhaustion. The festival was so bad that Argentina actually passed a law banning any electronic music festivals from taking place in the country again. In at number 8, Roskilde Festival in 2000. This festival that took place in Denmark in 2000 led to the death of 9 people while Pearl Jam was performing. The deaths happened after a mosh pit became too rowdy and individuals started suffocating because of the lack of space. It was so tight that people in the crowd just didn't have the space to breathe properly. Following the event, it was discovered that the chain of command to stop the show was not fast enough to save lives, and it's speculated that the people may still be alive if the concert was stopped earlier. Pearl Jam recently released a statement to the victims' families on the 20-year anniversary of the tragedy. In at number 7, Malazine Festival in 2009. 11 people died and 40 were injured after a stampede crushed attendees while they were trying to leave the festival. The festival took place in Morocco and 70,000 people attended to see performances from Kylie Minogue, Stevie Wonder, and Alicia Keys. After the concert was over, thousands of attendees were headed for the exit, but they were not secured properly by police. So concert goers decided to break down one of the fences for a faster exit, but ended up crushing the people below them. The rush caused a fence to collapse and a stampede, resulting in fatalities and injuries, reports Reuters. And at number 6, Glastonbury in 2005. Thankfully, nobody lost their life at this festival, but it was a rainy, muddy disaster. The 2005 festival took place on a particularly rainy weekend, and it led to disaster. The grounds of the festival were so full of water that their feet and tents were underwater. Apparently it was 6 feet deep in some areas. But this one gets very nasty. Since there was so much water, it flooded the porta potties, and the waste from the porta potties was mixed in with the water that everyone was stepping in. This led to many getting infections and even becoming seriously ill due to infection. But that's not all. At the 1990 festival, there was a clash with dumpster diving individuals after the festival and security. An eyewitness said the clash, quote, looked a bit like the old Wild West meets Mad Max. The festival paused for 1 year after to increase security. Halfway number 5, the Love Parade in 2010. The main issue with this 2010 festival held in Germany was the fact that concertgoers came and exited through a narrow concrete tunnel, which led to chaos when people wanted to leave quickly. During the festival, the event reached its maximum capacity, and the police decided to close off the entrance to stop more people from coming in. Then people were asked to leave calmly, but the exit turned into a stampede when people ran the other direction. This stampede led 21 people to lose their lives. At least 500 people were also injured. As a consequence of the tragedy, the organizer of the festival announced that no further love parades would be held and that the festival was permanently cancelled. In at number 4, Woodstock 1999. This festival can probably be compared to the Fyre Festival, but the concert attendees actually decided to band together and help each other through the disastrous festival. Woodstock was supposed to symbolize peace and love, and it's remembered for being a key moment in the hippie movement. But at the end of the day, it was a complete disaster. The attendance for the festival was much higher than anticipated, so they didn't have the resources to give everyone food, water, and shelter. The event was also behind schedule, so the fences for the outside of the festival were not put up and tons of people walked straight in without a ticket. There were many who were treated for heat stroke and not nearly enough water to go around. To make matters worse, at one point someone threw fake $100 bills into the crowd, which of course caused chaos. Then during the Red Hot Chili Peppers set, the crowd lit bonfires and flipped vehicles, causing a massive fire. 3 people died at the festival. In at number 3, Fyre Fest 2017. 2017. This is probably the most infamous disaster because of the insane promotion and lavish nature of the event. The attendees paid up to $100,000 for tickets and were promised luxury on an island and great artists. The event was promoted by the likes of Bella Hadid and Kendall Jenner, so clearly they spent all the money on promotions. In the end, planes landed in the Caribbean island, but no artists actually showed up. The luxury food and shelter they were supposed to receive was actually just bread with cheese slices, along with staying in FEMA camps. The attendees were also stranded as the only way back was on a plane, so they were forced to wait in miserable conditions until the planes were able to take them back home again. The whole ordeal was chronicled in a Netflix documentary. And at number 2, Isle of Wight. 2012. This festival is another that was a muddy disaster. This festival took place on an island, so made the transportation a little more complicated than usual. This UK festival featured Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Pearl Jam, and Bruce Springsteen. But after the rain started, it made it difficult to get over by car or boat. Apparently 350 cars were locked in a gridlock towards the festival, causing 10-hour delays. Ferry riders were trapped as well thanks to problems with docking boats. Then when you arrived at the festival, there was mud everywhere. Thankfully nobody passed away and nobody was seriously harmed. And finally at number 1, Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in 2017. This music festival that took place in 2017 in Las Vegas is labeled the deadliest mass in modern US history. 60 people were killed and hundreds injured after a shooter opened fire at the crowd from a room in the Mandalay Bay Hotel on the Las Vegas Strip. Country singer Jason Aldean was on the stage playing when the shots started to fire. There were 22,000 people at the festival. The man responsible was later identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, who was a regular gambler at Las Vegas casinos. No motive was ever determined. Jake Owen, who had performed earlier on the last day of the 3-day festival, was standing to the side of the stage watching. He told ABC News, quote, "The scene was like watching a bad movie. Standing there, you could hear the shots starting to hit the roof of the stage and people were starting to flee everywhere." MGM Resorts International, which owns the hotel, reached an $800 million settlement with the injured and the deceased families in December of 2019. So that is all for the list, guys. Preliminary thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out some comments from my video on problematic celebrity interviews. I Am Dangerous said, "You know, some guys really don't understand us laughing out of discomfort and stress. They really take it as, oh, she wants me bad. Like, no, slow your roll. I'm laughing because if I do anything else, one of us is getting hurt." Yeah, sometimes when you're in like a situation like that, you just don't even know what to do with yourself. So you're like, I guess I'll laugh it off because I don't really know what to say. So how else am I gonna respond? Totally agree with this. Bruna said, "Brazilian here, I do remember that interview with Vin Diesel. Carol was very uncomfortable, and lots of people said she was blowing out of proportion, and saying that she was interviewing Jason Momoa, she also sat on his lap, she didn't complain. But the interaction was completely different. Jason never was pushy or sexual in any way, shape, or form." Yeah, I agree. It was just like, yeah, the Vin Diesel one, it was just so aggressively, like, he didn't physically do anything, but it was just so, like, uncomfortable. It was like, and she wasn't even able to do a real interview because he just kept asking about it. So strange and so gross. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and you want to see some more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media, and I'll catch you on the next one.